you exist in the world at an extraordinary time. And yeah, I do mean because of what's going on, because of the war, because of all the things that have happened over the last couple of years. Because it's caused all of us to become much more valuable if we understand what has happened as a result of all these events going on. During my talks, my Wilhelm Conversations, which I'm doing another one on this coming Saturday, called The Most Profitable One, and you'll kind of begin to understand this for yourself. Because you've accumulated so much wisdom and value simply by existing in the world during this period. We have not lived through anything like this. None of us have. So we would have to be different in some way. But the other thing that happens, and this came out into conversations, when these periods happen in the world, you can look back at history and see all of this, great discoveries are made. Things are invented. We didn't even notice, and this was said, we were focusing on other things, so we didn't notice the new discoveries that were created in science and technology and all of those things as a result of what's gone on. Because what happens is you go home, you start thinking, and you start working on yourself, and you start doing something, and all of a sudden different ideas come to you. You've all seen the statistics of all the people who, after they were home due to the pandemic, discovered something else and said, I'm not going back to work. There's something else I'm supposed to do. Well, that was kind of true for me as well. When the pandemic began, I don't know why, but I just kind of knew what to do. And I started pulling together groups, and I started doing all of that. And I just knew that it was going to lead us somewhere. So I went back to working on something I've been working on for years and years and years. But it was saying, now let me bring it out. Maybe this is the time that it's needed. And I kept going through it and putting it together. And I'm like, this is fun. And it was because I had to. That's how it felt, because I had to. Many people have gone through that, and they said, wait a minute, there's something that I know that I was meant to do. Maybe this is the time. And I would, ask everybody that I met during that time, well, what was it? Why did you create the pandemic? And people thought, well, that's kind of crazy. But then they would figure out, they would think about it. We each come into the world with everything we need to create a magnificent, successful life, except we get in the way because we don't know how to use the information we've been given. We all have the information. I did not know this. I'm saying this. I struggled my entire life with, just fear and doubt and just failures and all of those things that I misinterpreted. I misinterpreted them. But then what happened, because I had to be home, and then I got this crazy information, this idea that I had a program I could create that could help us through this time that I couldn't accept, that I didn't believe, until I saw that, oh, wait a minute, it works. Because I woke up with not having fear and doubt. How did that happen? And then I went back and I studied the science of it, because you train yourselves to be who you're going to be. It doesn't just happen accidentally for anyone. But we didn't understand the science of that. See, I'm much older, so I really didn't understand any of this because it wasn't available. There are certain things about how we operate in terms of our neuroscience that was discovered, didn't even happen for, only in this century, that it was even known how we could start to use the science that had been developed to cause ourselves to become more and create the lives that we want. But it's there. And the other day I saw one of these things just come about. The new discovery, and I'll actually place a little link here. It's fascinating. I don't understand it all, but it's about physics, and it's about what they discovered that is kind of changing the ideas that we've had about everything. That's what happens as we live. You can look at the world and know it doesn't look anything like it did 500 years ago, because it keeps evolving. People come in and they create something new. But the problem is we don't think it's us. That was me. I didn't think it was me, except now I know it was. I know that I have created something that could give, if they were to use it, people will do what they want. I hid from this forever, you got to understand. But I couldn't accept this. I said, no, it couldn't be me. Until I did it, and I went back and I worked on the program, and then I came out different. That's the goal. That's what I'm giving to all my clients. That's what I want to see. Because with the new understanding of quantum physics and all that, you know that with more people who are owning themselves, doing what they came into the world to do, it shifts the trajectory of the entire world. We're no longer living in an isolated place. It's a completely different world. We're supposed to consider globally everyone, and that's why this change is going on. That's why this is happening. And it's designed for each of us to say, well, what do I have to offer? Because the more people who decide that they're going to give their gifts to the world, that's energy, that's love, that's light. It changes everything. And every single person has the ability to do that if they get out of their way. And what happens is, any coach, any inventor, any philosopher, anyone who creates something, they're creating it from their experience. I created this from my experience, didn't know that I had this, and you never know that until you start doing something. You do not know what you have until you consciously make an effort to go into it, to start to see it. But most people are just deciding, no, I don't have it. I'm going to keep talking myself out of it. I'm going to keep allowing fear and doubt to control me. I'm never going to move. And I can say this because I did it. I did it for a long time but because of that, it gave me this incredible opportunity to create something that can give people something that they never have to go through that again. And I know that it works because that's what happened. I can't tell you, I just put out a message on Any Advice for Today, and it was about this, self-acceptance. Because I said, wow, that was the process. I had to go through, just so you get it, this has been 50 years in the making, go through looking at every aspect of me and changing, because this is chemistry, this is science. I had to change my perceptions about it. I had to understand it in an entirely new way. I had to understand, why did I go through all these illnesses and diseases and surgeries? Well, because I figured out self-healing at that process. So maybe that's what I'm supposed to bring back to the world. And why could I be so afraid and doubtful my entire life? And then I write a book about fear. Well, maybe because I could help people move through fear. Whatever you have lived is your gift. However you came in is your gift. I mean, I went through my surgery where I lost half of my foot, and I thought that was going to hold me back forever, and it was going to be this horrible thing. No, it's not. It's not. I don't feel that way anymore. All that time that I spent isolated in the hospital gave me the opportunity to get in touch with something else, just like so many people had that opportunity when they had to stay home during the pandemic. But every single person has the ability to manifest this brilliant life if they just accept fully who they are. That's it.